Hi and welcome to Sports Vision. I'm David Lane and joining me this week is Tuggeranong first grade coach Glen Christini. Hi Glenn, how are you going?
Not too bad, thanks.
That's great. Mate, the Vikings managed to win the Transact Shield and the John I. Dent Cup in your first year with the club in 2009. Can you give us a bit of an insight into your preparations and philosophy heading into the 2010 season?
It's been going well. We've had a pretty tough off-season. We've had a sevens program up and running since the end of last year. Guys have been training well, probably more the mental side of it we're focusing on at the moment. We've the major challenges for the guys to sort of get over last season and realise that that's gone, and we're effectively not defending anything. It's a new season, and that's proving certainly more of a challenge than we initially expected. The boys keep throwing their mindset back to last year and expecting us to sort of pick up where we left off last season, which isn't really reality with a new player group. So that's certainly the major challenge, and we're working really hard to deal with that and move on with this season.
Mate, it's really good to see that many of the ACT clubs have been involved or reconnected with the pre-season 7s and 10 comps around town this year. Mate, how important is it, getting involved in those kind of programs, considering that you could be playing teams from virtually anywhere, first grade Sydney through to, Monaro clubs from Jindabyne or beyond?
Yep. I think it's huge. I mean, we went up to Darwin in January, which entailed us starting training last November, basically, and I'm a huge believer in what sevens can do for skill set, fitness levels. So that's more so what it's about, getting a bunch of guys training through the off-season. You can't expect guys to train for months on end without playing any footy, so it allows them to do that. Skill level picks up, especially around the sevens. There's nowhere to hide. You learn to look after the ball, and you learn to defend properly. So I'm a massive believer in it, and more would be better, really. More sevens tournaments would be great, and certainly we're going to continue on that pathway.
The Vikings have several Brumbies contracted players in their system this year. How important is balancing those up-and-comers with the experienced first-grade guys that you have each year?
Oh, it's certainly a challenge. I mean, you always want to bring through local young guys who deserve their opportunity, and we endeavour to do that, but to give them a reasonable crack at it, and to be fair to them, you have to put experienced players around them. So we try to juggle that, get the balance just right. Even our second grade now sort of boasts a number of very experienced players. So it's a juggling act, but it's something we're aware of.
Can you name some of those young up-and-comers that you've got, pegged for bigger and better things?
Yep, well, there's probably one that's been appearing strongly the last couple of weeks is our young 5'8", Sam Jacopo. He's certainly a freakish sort of talent. He's got a hell of a skill set on him, so he's one we'd look for big things. As well as that, Scotty Irwin, our open side flanker, who missed the grand final last year with injury. He's looking for a massive season out of him. It's his second year in first grade. And our loose head prop, who holds the fame at the moment of being the bloke sent off in the grand final. But we're expecting big progress from him. He's certainly got rugby ambitions, and he's still a young bloke, and big and strong and fast and hard, so he's another one to watch out for.
Having won the competition as a coach for the last 3 years in a row, how does Glen Christini stay ahead of the pack when they'll all be going for you this year?
Yeah, good question. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think in terms of my own progress and working with the team, I'm trying to step outside of the rugby circle in terms of my learning processes. There's so many rugby coaching courses out there that you can get engrossed in that system and those processes. So I tend to step outside of that, look a lot at individual sports and management of athletes and that, and work with the blokes a lot one-on-one to get the best out of them. And I think if you get the best out of individuals, your team performances will come together.
As an individual, what aspirations do you have in coaching, and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
When I sort of took off down this pathway about 8 years ago, working in rugby and coaching, etc., you always want to get as high as you possibly can. So I want to keep coaching professionally, get as high as I possibly can, be it here or overseas. Is always a factor, I guess. Preferably locally, somewhere got that Super 14 competition to look at, NPC back in New Zealand. So aspirations for sure, but in terms of coaching, I'm still relatively young and still got a hell of a lot of learning to do. So I'll take my time, get it right, so when I do get there, I can do a decent job and not be out the back door.
No, that's fair enough. That's probably a good way to good way to approach it,
Yep.
mate. Now with summer over and the rugby season pretty much, getting underway and in full swing, can you tell us some of the other things that that interest you outside of rugby?
Yeah, the wife loves it when rugby season rolls around again. I've got young kids, so they play sports. Spend the summer weekends sort of, watching baseball, etc. 2 girls do dance recitals and all that sort of carry on. So I'm around the traps with those. We love the outdoors as a family. Come from Bay of Islands in New Zealand, so we like the beach, and so we get down to the coast as often as possible, and just really try and get away from it all as far away as possible. Really.
Yeah.
But it's here upon us again now, so on with it.
And finally, just an insight into Glen Christini. What was the last concert that you managed to get along to?
Oh, it's been a whole lot of time, that one. But it would have been the Eurythmics, actually. Big Eurythmics fan, Annie Lennox, for sure. Big Guns N' Roses fan, so I'll be... obviously, they've gone their separate ways now, so won't be seeing them anytime soon. But, yeah, Guns N' Roses and Eurythmics for sure.
Mate, they sound like some great concerts to have been along to, especially the Eurythmics now that they're finished and all over and done with. So thanks very much for coming and joining us today on Sports Vision, and good luck for the 2010 season with the Tuggeranong Vikings.
Thanks very much.